Greetings and welcome to Perception Remote. It's a division of Perception that was created out of necessity due to COVID-19, and it focuses solely on delivering high-end remote working solutions and online virtual events to you, our colleagues and friends in the event industry.
Good morning, and we're live. This is the very first live presentation that we're doing from Perception headquarters here in London. We are a group of individuals that, like the rest of you in the event industry, have found this period to be extremely difficult and are now trying to adapt in ways that see us trying to generate new income for ourselves and for the rest of the industry. Perception started in 2000. Actually, sorry, let me just stop there. I need to preface something. Firstly, I'm not a presenter, so if I cock this up, I avail myself of all responsibility. I'd also like to point out that all my technicians, all the good ones, have been furloughed. So if this goes wrong, it's their fault. And then also the dress code. Hey, you're not only supposed to see from here up anyway. But I want to give you a brief history on Perception. We started in the event industry in 2007 until about 2013, focused primarily on delivering high-end event solutions or technical event solutions to the agency world, to the conference industry, and to venues in particular. And then in 2013, we changed our position and we looked to incorporate a team that was in integration. We developed that team till now along with the event side, and that's primarily what we've been focusing on until March 12th, I think, 2020, which is when we decided to get everybody to go home because it wasn't safe. We felt that the impending doom of the world was coming down on us, and the traveling and all that, it changed everything. So we've sent everybody home March 12th, and now we're looking at ways and means to get around this problem. And one of the main ways to do that is to focus on online events. And effectively, it's the same thing. Live, online, it doesn't really matter. We're still delivering a core message. And we're looking to get people to virtually connect and deliver messages in and amongst each other. Now, there's lots of Zoom webinars going on. There's lots of Skype meetings. But there's no main platform that can webcast out and take in all of those Zoom calls, take in all of those chats, and make them part of a much bigger presentation. And that's what we're hoping to present to you today. We've got a team of developers, technicians, designers, freelancers that aren't furloughed, working on this with us, as well as a number of our technicians who are desperately trying to get us and themselves off the ground and creating again. And the thing is that together we can make this work. So for us, what we've decided to do is present this to you in three packages, if you would. The Microsite, the streaming package, and our products that we're offering. Broken down, the Microsite effectively has been written from scratch, and it's been programmed and coded to sit on your own domain. So you can have whatever that is, /live, whatever your domain is, /live, and it sits on your domain. You can manage the content yourself, you can design it yourself, and we can assist you, we can back that up. There's a player module that sits on the template, and it'll play back content whether you stream with us or without us. There's an agenda module, which will give you the layout of the day. I think you can see it on our page. It gives you an idea of what's going on. And from that agenda module, you can download papers, bios, tracks, video, whatever you want. There is a sponsors module along the side, as you'll see. People that have sponsored you help you raise revenue. There is a questions module, where you'll see on the page, and I'd encourage anybody now, I'm linked to that right now, So I've got Will Fenton who's saying, loving it up, keep up the good work. That's fantastic. Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. And it is working. That's good to know. Ryan has said, hello, everyone. So we've got this thing connected to do live feedback. We can interact with our audience immediately, and I think that's important now, considering we can't see each other. The polling module was ready to go live today, but we were hesitant to do so because there were a few glitches. We've written it ourselves, but we guarantee next week it'll be working properly. The registration page is there for your security. You can have it or not. You can go straight in and live. It's up to you. And you can obviously have a payment gateway linked to that. So if you wanted to monetize your content, you could quite easily do that. And we want to share this with the industry. We're going to do it in such a way that there won't be an outlay. There'll be some kind of monthly payment, which we're currently working out. It's literally brand new. This is the first pilot of this whole thing. So we know that it's working. We know that we're going live. So that's a positive thing. If you have a look at our page, you can see there's the sponsor section, the player. This is a registration portal that we've done for Lloyds Bank. They've asked us to put together something for their training programs that they do worldwide and mainly UK based. The agenda module, as you can see, each section here is its own section, which will then go into a separate page, and you can download information from each of those sections. The sponsors area, again, self-populating, easy to use. The questions module, I think, is the most important thing because we're not connected with everybody now, and it's a one-way stream. It links us with everybody, which is great, and I can address things immediately. So I think that's fundamental. As I say, the polling will come soon, I can promise you now, and the important thing there is that you won't need third-party apps like Slido and things like that. It'll be built directly into the microsite. And again, a chat window, which I think is even more important, that the community can then sit on the microsite and talk about the presentation. They can give answers and feedback, and they can discuss everything that they feel is necessary. So on to the next element of that. That's the microsite. That's one thing. You can then take the microsite from us and go and do your streaming elsewhere through a third-party streaming partner or a CDN. You can go via YouTube. It's up to you. You can point YouTube at your own microsite. It's entirely up to you. The live streaming element is what we do with our equipment and have been doing for years. We've been going to various sites, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whether it be your own custom URL. We've been doing it for years, but never as an integrated service built into a platform. So we wanted to point out the benefits to this, and that is that we can offer an end-to-end encryption, which is security-wise fundamental. We can offer a polished production, multi-cameras, motion graphic overlays. We can pre-record, we can green screen. We've got a green screen in the studio. And we can integrate all your favorite webinar platforms, Zoom, Blue Jeans, WebEx, whatever it is, we can integrate it and stream it out live. So why not stream to just social media? And I guess that's a twofold answer. Number one, it's noisy. But number two, the content protection or the copyright protection on various platforms is dangerous. There was a case very recently where a presentation was done in a live webcast to YouTube. The presenter was referencing a TEDx talk, broadcast it out, and because of copyright infringement, YouTube shut it down and shut a 2-day conference down. And that was, they didn't have a backup site, they were straight to YouTube. So it's fairly dangerous. On your own URL, on your own site, you govern your own content. But that's not to say that social media isn't important. So what we are saying is that stream it to your own microsite, steer all your traffic there where possible, keep them in your world, but then also those that are your fan base and your clients and your customers that are monitoring your other platforms like Facebook, Twitch, social media, Periscope, Facebook Live, etc., they can view it as well. So we can restream to all those platforms without difficulty. You can do this from home. We can ingest a a web call from you at home and incorporate you into the presentation. You can be the lead presenter, you can be the host, and we can facilitate that remotely, so that's no problem. We can even go as far as to facilitate it on the move using your mobile phone. And we can ingest that content using your mobile phone as a camera. So multi-cameras at a site, multi-phones at a site rather, and we can ingest the content as input, camera inputs, and use them as part of the production. Our team are, as I say, a bunch of incredibly gifted and talented individuals, all working alongside us while we're all struggling to make this work. We're developing things and products at a rate of knots that I think you'll all be very excited about. Some of them aren't too pretty. He was all right. As you can see, our carpenters are lovely. Oh, sorry, Craig. Some are pretty. And then the final element are the product offerings. Now, we haven't got this live yet. We do have a number of products that we are ready to push out. Some are sanitary products. Most are remote working solutions for the industry. One in particular is a solution that I'll bring on our integration director next week, and he can talk about it. It's a product that we've devised using a culmination of our contacts, and it's called Bring the Boardroom Home. It's facilitating, or it's making your life at home a lot easier in terms of your day-to-day webcasting or your day-to-day webinars. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's all I've been doing since COVID. I've been on a phone or I've been in front of a laptop. And what Bring the Boardroom Home does is it makes that experience a lot better, and it integrates your house into the experience. We've also got a partner called Easy Crane. They're a stationer slash large provider, and they have given us a very good discount code to offer our clients for remote working solutions and at-home stationery and things like that. EdBack sanitization, dispensers. We're not going to go too deep into this, but we will have dispensers for hire and for purchase for when we do start getting back to work. And judging by what Boris Johnson said last night, none of us really know when that is. I don't think he did either. So the main thing is, as I said earlier, presentation aids and sound aids for rooms, printed backdrops for your presentation. It's basically looking to polish up your presentation to make you stand up head and shoulders above the rest of the content that's going live online at the moment. And as I say, the shop is coming soon. Here's a very basic slide on the Bring the Boardroom Home. We can go into this next week, I feel, when our integration director and product designer of this is here. So let's wait for that. And but if you do have anything that you want to ask about this, please feel free to email me. It's patrick@perceptionlive.com. And that's more of that. Last thing which hasn't been mentioned, and I'm not going to mention it, but I do want you to remember these three letters. It's going to be something very exciting. It's a platform we're developing, so keep your eye on that. And that, as they say, is that. Now I'm going to hand over to a colleague of mine in Leatherhead who's going to take on the rest of the presentation for the next segment.
Hi guys, and thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to run through very quickly, in a very short space of time, how we could go about bringing in a remote presenter that isn't able to attend the studio or dial in during the time that you want to go live. So let's say, for example, there's some time constraint, they can't travel there because of travel restrictions, etc. There's a very simple way to do that, and then we can pre-record the content via a dial-in. So the day before, say, example today, Sunday the 10th of May, it's the day before we go live with our presentation, we send the presenter a link that then they click on, and that dials them into the studio. We then go through some presentation guidelines and advise them what to do, what not to do, and how to go about presenting. This is then recorded, and we can then play it back during the conference. Now, there's two ways to record it, and that is to use a laptop with a built-in microphone and camera, or you could be sent out an engineer who has a studio with him, a small roll-in studio, non-invasive, very, very simple setup, a couple of cameras, some lights, and you could do the presentation from home in a polished manner. Let's assume for a moment that's not what you wanted because of the coronavirus, and you are concerned for the well-being of the family member, and you didn't want to bring somebody into your home. That's not a problem either. We can courier
a pre-patched rack that you would be able to plug in and use up to 4 cameras or 4 content sources like laptops or playback devices. So you could have 2 cameras and 2 laptop sources for presentation and video playback. And you'd use that using a very, very simple product like this called the Atom Mini, which is a studio that we would then pre-patch and send to you with a camera via a courier with instructions. You could dial into the studio, we could run you through how to set it up. It is literally like plugging a USB into your laptop. The laptop then sees your production studio, which is this, as a single webcam. But the clever thing is, it's a production studio in its own right, which has got 4 inputs. So via HDMI, you'll plug in your inputs and you'll be able to play back pretty much anything by switching your source as you see fit. So therefore becoming your own production studio within your home, which then sends the content to us pre-recorded or live, and then we can showcase it onto the live webcast, which is happening in this instance tomorrow. But enough of that. I think what I'll do now is just invite the next guest on. The next segment is, it's about talking to people in the industry and effectively, what are they doing? How are they getting by? What ideas do they have to sort of mitigate any of this economic crisis? So with that said, over to the studio. 10 seconds.
You can buy me pearls.
And welcome back. This time we are now in a new part of the studio. What we wanted to do was showcase the various areas that we could set up and do interviews. Now, when I say interviews, I was very privileged to get my next 2 guests out. They are 2 of my very close friends, but more importantly, they are like extraordinarily good at what they do. We've got Ash Edelman, who is the largest motherfucker you've ever seen. He's a PCA Pro World Champion bodybuilder, and you've got Maria Stavrou, who's an extraordinarily good entrepreneur, beautiful human being, and incredible fire performer. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So the thing that we wanted to do with this sort of segment was just to chat to you guys and see how you guys are coping with this chaos that's going on as performers. Like us in the industry, we know how bad it's been, but we also don't know how bad it's been really, because I suppose performing is like a drug.
Yeah.
And you don't have your stage. So Maria, if I could hear from you, what do you think?
It has been tough for a lot of performers. I think it's more in so much that it's an outlet for creativity. It's not just a job. All of the performers that I know could easily go into any other industry, you know, without any problem. It's not something that they were forced into or something that they felt they had no other choice to do. It's a choice to be a performer. It's a way of life to be a performer. And people are now suffering because they're not able to have that emotional outlet. And it's good for your mental health to be able to go and do something that you enjoy.
For sure.
And especially if it's something that inevitably earns you a revenue as well, which is what we're suffering with now.
I guess that's just the benefit, isn't it? The revenue now. But when it grinds to a zero, I mean, Ash, you're lucky in that you sit in 2 camps, but effectively both of your camps are fucked as well.
Both of my camps are dead in the water. Unfortunately, as I said, PT is the other one, and that's, again, gyms closed, all that sort of stuff. It makes it quite hard. I mean, every trainer has now gone online and has made a flooded industry even more flooded, because everyone's now fighting for clients, fighting for this. Like, I've seen people that have literally cut their prices by 75% just to get clients in. So I've gone back and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna make YouTube videos, put content out and build it that way, because at least that way I'm still getting productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we tried to sort of work around it as well. We were like, okay, what can we do about working online? How can we still perform when we're at home? We tried doing things like Instagram live shows and other things like that. And it's just because everyone's in the same boat. No one can afford to go, do you know what, I'll give you your regular money. The amount that you should get for doing that particular job is just not sustainable whilst everyone's in the same boat.
I would just like to point out, Mike, if you could just focus the camera on me for a second. They are a couple. which is why they're on the other side of the studio.
And also point it on the ring.
They are married. They are married, and that's why
We're allowed
I'm
to share a
two
bed. It's fine.
Well, she gets 3/4 of the bed. I'm usually off to the side.
Isn't that the same? What's that all about?
I woke up this morning in the same place. I fell asleep, but she was dead set.
Listen, it's my right as a wife to do that.
No, you're quite right.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I guess the thing is, though, Ash, you're saying that you're putting content out, and I know that you're in a good position financially for a while because you've had a good career up until now and still do. But what's the plan? I mean, where to now? Obviously, Maria, you were just saying try and find the work, but the work is massively diminished, and people are paying 75% less of what. As you said,
so it's essentially all the jobs that we used to, sorry to say, take the piss out of for the amount that people are offering. Now people are clamouring for, definitely a quarter, if not less, of what they should have been getting for jobs that they're doing.
And do you feel like, I mean, I watched Boris's speech last night, and I didn't make heads or tail of it. Do you feel that it made any difference to your lives?
I'm in two minds about it. I just read something on a mate's Facebook which made perfect sense. Everyone's screaming they want instruction, they want their freedoms back. He basically said, it's like, it's up to you now. You've got your choice. If you feel comfortable going out, go out and be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, if you think you're sick, stay in. If you feel like you want to go to work, it's just using common sense now. That whole thing that I was talking about with the Sweden thing is they've still got, I think it's like 3,000 or whatever people that have passed away, but the majority of those are the elderly that are in the nursing homes. They've allowed that herd immunity for people to go out and still do their thing. It comes down to common sense.
It does, but then you can't really put common sense in the hands of mass population.
No, look at Brexit. I mean,
we can't really put our faith in.
And I mean, we got the leader of the free world running things with injection, blah blah blah, and then you've got the leader of Brexit running our shit at the moment.
So we've got a man that has got no medical qualifications being able to rant on that, and Bill Gates being able to rant on about what he believes is the right medical procedures to go through a quarantine or a pandemic.
A man who has no medical background whatsoever.
And doctors are being silenced about the matter as well, which is just madness.
Do you mind if I take 2 seconds out to show the audience a little video about you guys? I think it's about 30 seconds.
Wait, it's not the video I'm thinking, is it?
It's not a video like that. I don't believe so, anyway.
Cool.
And there we go. I mean, come on. Like, what the hell was that? I mean, that's impressive, man. Like, I've got a couple of questions here that I want to cover, if that's all right with you. We've got, I should have probably covered them earlier. We have got a question from Michael Crane. When do you think the events industry will get back to normal?
So for me personally, I've had a client who I trust implicitly has given me the advice of, to hanker on as it might be possible for September, potentially, for smaller events. Plan for it, but equally the likelihood is that 2021 is something that we'd be looking at for like larger scale events.
So vaccine-based premise, essentially. We're not going back to normal until there's a vaccine.
I think we should be looking at alternative options. I don't think we should be putting our eggs in the basket of let's wait until the events start up again. We should be looking at how can we, like what you're doing now, how can we progress? How can we work within the remit that we've got at the moment? And what you've done by creating this is amazing. So well done to you. Well done to you.
I know for us, I know there's certain things like I know bodybuilding competitions. Some have still been running. I know with Two Bros, so the one I was meant to do before lockdown went in. They've started advertising for August those competitions, but things like Forbidden. I mean, I'd love it to go back to what it was as soon as possible. I think it'll be the reverse of what they tried to do, whereas max 500 capacity and then obviously building slower. But again, everything's up in the air. Cause
I think just to explain to everybody, Forbidden is a, how would you describe it, male variety show?
It's, like Magic Mike makes Cirque du Soleil. So it's you've got the element of strip through. Obviously, you take your kit off. We don't show everything.
It's erotic circus.
It is erotic circus. But we're all circus performers as well. So I'm a fire performer. You got one of the boys does pole. Another one sings. Another one.
You're also into Dragon Star.
Yeah, I do Dragon Star.
Yeah. Are you still practicing that?
Yeah. I mean, I've actually got to do a bit more of it. The past couple of weeks have been a bit manic, but. Yeah, well, we're definitely, as we've got more time. Still.
I was going to say, I didn't mean to. Thanks for coming in your really busy schedule.
I'm literally. I mean, besides twiddling my thumbs.
Got 5 minutes more.
Besides twiddling my thumbs and doing my hair, whatever I have left.
See, as you can see, I've had a problem with that, the doing my hair thing.
You look no different.
I have, like finding a barber that's prepared to come around that's anti-COVID, you know. Right, let's have a look. Can these slides be downloaded for our reference? Yes, they can. We'll make them available to you after the event. Don't know how yet or how long that will take, but we will get that done. We're working on the automation of it. Good. Everybody's saying they're loving it. Okay, we're all conspiracy theorists. Yes, we are. We are indeed. We love a bit of a conspiracy, don't we?
I mean, oh my God! Don't get him so bold.
Let's get him started.
There are so many different ways this could go. Like everyone go. The second someone puts anything that's conspiracy theorist up on, like, there's a word for it. I've been trying to figure out this word for ages. I can't remember it. If you hear a conspiracy theory, you don't want to believe it, but there's facts in front of you to show you that it's real. I can't remember the word.
Okay.
Anyway, it's...
Does anybody in the room have the word?
Denial. Confirmation bias is what I was saying.
Basically, okay. In my eyes, again, this is my personal opinion, the virus, yes, is real. I don't believe the numbers are what they're saying they are. I believe that people are getting classed as coronavirus when they die, even though when they didn't have testing for it. If it's something that may have been...
Hold on.
Let me finish.
No, hold on.
I'm just getting my role.
That's what we boiled down to.
Because when I was discussing this with somebody else just yesterday, the whole thing of being not diagnosed, but the cause of death being COVID, and it not being altogether accurate in so much that you can die with it, as opposed to from it.
Fair.
So I did bring this up in a conversation with somebody who, I respect their opinions entirely. They're always quite measured, and they look at both views and everything. He was just saying that, how else are we going to record a pandemic if we just don't record all the cases that had COVID?
Yeah.
How are we going to have an accurate representation of how many people did have it if we don't record the death with it?
But how does it become accuracy if it's before testing came in and it's still classed? How does that?
Is it not better to be more cautious? This is where both of us, we live together, we love each other, we're married, but we have very different views.
But I've got a very interesting point in it. So January we went on a trip, a conference down to Cape Town, and at the end of the trip we went on a motorcycle journey from Cape Town up to Windhoek, and at that point I developed this hacking cough where I couldn't shake it. It was not mucus driven, it was dry. Everything that I've been saying, that's one of the things that COVID delivers, I'm sure I had it. Now that was way before it was reported to even be in this country. So my question is there something similar running alongside it? These kind of things we don't know.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. We don't know. So what I'm saying with the numbers is there seems to be a lot of, it's more fear-driven or fear-mongering to the point of pushing people to, this is what the numbers are, be worried, be scared, stay inside.
Yeah.
Like when this whole lockdown thing started, I was standing in the line and some bloke literally, he stepped backwards, stepped backwards, kicked into my shopping basket and then told me to fuck off because it was my issue. And I'm like, mate, I've seen people literally getting angry at people for coming too close to each other, yet you go to any shopping centre, you got people just literally casually walking past each other. You go to anywhere, people are still doing it. They're so... Yeah. I'm angry about this because everyone needs to stay in, yet you'll happily walk past someone here. Yeah. Like, there's so much...
I'll be devil's avocado for you right now. So to be devil's advocate, it's a case of you've got people that are fear-driven, you've got people that are behaving in a way that potentially they shouldn't, because it is out of fear.
Yeah.
However, if you had a nation of people that didn't care, and we've got, Doris and Beryl, bless their little hearts, catching COVID, these are still lives that matter. These are still lives that are important, and that's where I think that we're kind of losing touch with humanity. And we should be looking at other ways that we can get around it until it is kind of more safe to go out and start doing jobs.
Yeah.
So
things like
common
this.
sense. It comes down to common sense.
That's what you said earlier.
It's common sense.
Yeah.
It's literally common sense. If you feel you're sick, or if you're worried about it, or if you are, you take the extra precautions to do it.
Yeah.
Like that is, unfortunately, the world doesn't have common sense these days. Literally don't have.
There's an extra layer of complexity that throws in this economical situation where you've got workers that are furloughed who'd love to go to work, but they can't. They're forced not to, and it's difficult, I think, for a number of reasons. But I think common sense is the word I'm going to take away from this. Have common sense. Like, I've got a wife and a child with asthma. I'm not risking it. Simple as. They are deciding, because of the news yesterday, that they'll probably start going out to parks. They've been at home for 8 weeks now. So they'll probably start going out to parks. Now you've got to start watching the kids and who they interact with and all that. Again, it's common sense. It's now integrating with society again to make sure that we are safe, as are they.
Of course. I mean, for me, again, just because my view is this, doesn't mean I still don't follow the rules and go, you know what, that's what it is. That's just my belief of how this thing is. For me, again, personally, being someone for the gym, and this is, I've seen so many people with this, the issue, one of the biggest issues is there's more, I think there's going to be more damage to people away from the virus than it through mental health, through suicide, through all this other sort of stuff where it's really starting to affect the people. Like, again, gyms. A gym owner, again, I was reading earlier, he's gone, if other businesses are allowed to open, why can't we? Even if we still implement this, we still implement the rules, we still follow those rules, because a shopping centre, people are standing next to each other, people are doing this. And it's also been shown, not
mental health, quite rightly so.
But it increases your immune system. It helps your immune system. It will help you fight if your body's fit and healthy. So it's.
And is anybody fighting the case for the gyms at government level?
I don't know at government level. There are petitions going around, but for a lot of people, everyone has, if they are dealing with something, they have certain ways to work through things. For myself and a lot of us, is you go into the gym. That's your place. You can get away from it. And especially if that's not open until later, like, there's still going to be more and more knock-on effects from the restrictions they've put onto people. Again, common sense coming into this, I feel it can be managed properly. Again, people don't have common sense. I wish everyone did. But it was something that could be worked towards. Instead of everyone turning on each other going, you're not following the rules, you're not doing this.
That's what we need to avoid.
Exactly. People need to learn to love each other and work together no matter what your views are. There's a middle point which everyone can work to. But because everyone is so left or right.
I think that's a fantastic point to leave the conversation. I think the middle ground is where we need to be. At the moment, we've got too much riding in the air of uncertainty. And we've got too many people on this side going, it's crazy. You've got too many people this side saying it's a conspiracy. We'll get there, I think, one day.
Of course. One day, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Look, I would like to say, honestly, genuinely, it's always a pleasure talking to you. The downside is that I don't get to hug them. I love hugging these two. But virtual hugs.
I'm saving you the biggest hug.
I know.
Big hug by him is never pleasant.
You've been over here.
Yeah, true.
Pop it up.
Look, guys, absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for everything. It's been a lovely. I'm going to put up all their links. Please go follow them. Do whatever you can to find them, support them. The performance industry really needs assistance, just like the events industry, the whole of the hospitality industry. So anything that anybody can do in terms of following them, I'd be hugely grateful. And welcome back. I am now going to be joined by the amazing, incredible, talented individual, Cy Connelly from Brighton. Cy grew up under his dad's DJ booth in the Spit and Sawdust nightclubs of the 90s, effectively. He emerged with a vast palette of influences and a suitcase of adrenaline-fueled postcards. Let's take a look at one of his songs that was recently put out.
Divide my skin and bones because I can. Cut yourself in half a little more. And so else's dreams.
Sai, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
Good. It's really good to have you on. We had a little brief chat earlier. We've got a common ground friend who's linking us between the airwaves, and he's told me all about you. And I'm fascinated with your journey through music. I believe started very young, and I know I've moved through a massive trajectory in music, and then got quite disheartened by the industry in a way, and are currently in an anti-marketing phase of your life. I'd love you to tell me more about that, because obviously the two go hand in hand, but I completely get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's funny actually. Well, I haven't sort of not anti kind of promotion or anti kind of industry. I've kind of gone through those phases. I was through over the years. I started off kind of wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then kind of got deals, and then got out of deals and made records and didn't like the records and didn't put them out. And a lot of kind of arm wrestling over the years to try and not let like the major kind of label put out some rubbish that I wasn't happy with, you know. And in the end, when you do that, you end up kind of more independent, not really out of choice. I love that kind of flag people fly for independence. It's never really a choice. It's usually nobody's actually picking up, no one's signing any checks. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I kind of just started producing my own stuff like that. But the problem obviously is when you're doing all your own stuff, producing it, writing it, and everything else, is you get into this pattern, I suppose, of just constantly berating people to come to your shows, and like you become a walking sandwich board really for everything.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does my head in as much as it does anyone else's head in, so I just don't really do it. But the downside of that is that nobody has a clue what I'm doing, and I kind of why should they know what I'm doing?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I mean, so one of the things now is that we're all struggling to get together. So in kind of a band environment, it's very difficult for you to connect with your band members. So I was just intrigued to know, band versus solo performance. Forget the moment that we're in now. Which do you prefer, and why? And is it different at different times?
Well, it's been funny because I'm in a band called Goldbirds as well. So my solo thing is pretty much the same. I still have a band, but the changes that have happened for me over the years really have been more like because I can't afford to rehearse, so I don't see the point in having a band members. I just basically just put a text out on WhatsApp to say, hey, I'm playing here, can you come on stage and just play with me? So
that's
a
quite
lot of the shows are more improvised, which is it's cool and it's cheap. It's really good.
And I mean, let's be honest, that's what we need right now. We need cheap.
I've pretty much been in furlough for the last 20 years. So it's a tricky time. It's funny. I do actually randomly miss playing with people, miss playing live. It's funny because these restrictions don't really restrict me, because it's really just a block on groups of people getting together. And if you come to my shows, there's no groups of people getting together, so I could carry on playing really. There's nobody there anyway.
And do you find that being forced to be alone versus the choice is making you more or less creative in terms of writing? Funny
enough, my creativity is more like it's always kind of waiting there. So if I want to sort of do it, I can. I've found it's probably the same as all you guys. It's you've got all this time, so really what you should be creating Sergeant Pepper or doing something interesting with your time. But most of the time I'm kind of watching Country File and on repeat, you know. It's not, I haven't been
midday Aussie border control.
I just try to I try my best not to kind of get in, and I certainly haven't been sitting on the bed playing Facebook Lives or doing Instagrams or any of that stuff.
All right.
I don't know, it's a weird thing, isn't it? You feel like it feels extremely minimizing the things you do, like especially if you're like a solo artist, i.e. self-promoter, you feel quite, when this thing happened, it kicked off, there's much more important things going on in the world.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
you're
felt
quite right.
no one needed to hear my version of Hey Jude
Do
at
you
this
know,
particular moment.
you're quite right, man. Like the same for us. I think it's very important that people stay connected, but our industry effectively puts people together to make money, and money is this big evil thing that is really not needed in terms. Not the money's needed, but the events industry is kind of superfluous, if you would, and kind of been kicked to the curb a little bit. So we're all sitting there going, well, what next? And I think we're all in the same boat, just trying to promote each other, which is why we've developed this, so that we can have this platform that is not just every Tom, Dick and Harry on their Facebook Live, one camera, do it properly. Like, I don't know if you saw the Post Malone concert that he did a tribute to Nirvana. I mean, like, really outstanding. And we need to see more of that, because that'll be what sets the trend in this interim period until we do get back to normality, really. Now,
I think high quality stuff, definitely, for sure. I think but even before this happened, it was getting to the point, I suppose, because everyone can do it and everyone's sort of out there. Just because the market's there doesn't necessarily mean it should just be drowned the whole time. And I even found, like, playing in London, doing my shows, that if I did a great show, say in October, there's not a lot of point me doing another one in February, because it went fine the first time, the same people came. So it is a funny thing trying to find what to do next anyway. And then this comes along and it kind of reinvents the wheel, I suppose.
And I think in that way, it's quite good, because it does force us to think more creatively in some aspects. Take from a monetary point of view, you need to try and find avenues to make money. You need to think on your feet. Whether it's helpful in a creative sense for writing, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably think the opposite, because you're now forced to sit in a room and you will be creative, which I don't think is the way it works.
Well, it's kind of thinking, I mean, the record I put out now, I recorded like a year ago. And what this has done, it's meant that my release date's now going to be probably early next year rather than this year.
Okay.
Not that there's a huge amount of weight. There's not like a whole army of people. My cat's sort of the one packing the CDs, So
well, there will be now. I mean, this massive audience that we're providing for you.
This is it. So, it's...
So tell me more about the album and the single that you're about to play for us. What's the story behind the single?
Oh, the single, it's randomly enough. It's like the very first song. The thing that just played on the TV actually was the very first notes I kind of wrote for this record. It's just pulled up this kind of sine wave type thing on the keyboard and put it in. But ultimately, the album sounds like a kind of really. If you were aware of any of my stuff beforehand, you'd see how starkly different it is. My other stuff's quite rocky and quite raw. Yeah. And this is very produced, very kind of beats and all that sort of stuff. It's really a remix of the album I would have made could I afford to go in a studio with musicians and make the record, Okay. So this album was me sitting on a laptop, doing it for free. And although I, to be honest, even though it hasn't come out yet, and I shouldn't really be slating it because I'm not slating it, but it's really been a really good experiment for me and a really good thing to do. But, I think ultimately down the line, I can't wait to get back to instruments and get away from beats and synths.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, on that note, I think that's an excellent segue for you to perform your song, sir. I'd love to hear it.
Great, man. Cool. Love you speaking to you.
And you, my friend.
Divide my skin and bones because I can. Cut yourself in half a little more at someone else's dreams and dream louder and think twice before your gold eyes open. Think twice before your gold eyes open. Oh, 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 oh. So Track my cynical because I can. Relax then multiply a little. Just don't follow me down to the water and sort of blame it on your hand of God. And think twice before your gold eyes open and you forget yourself again. Let's go back to the start again. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you ever fall in and out of pain? No, the holy water won't change the way it tastes. Count the raging war in DNA. No, the Holy Ghost is only a flickering heart, and you forget yourself again. So let's go back to the start again. To burn my skin and bones because I can.
Thank you, guys.
Dude, that was outstanding. That's almost, it feels like that should be the anthem of this period at the moment. I wasn't really listening to the words, but you kind of had me lost in the whole melody of it. It was really good.
It does, yeah. Social distancing.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and buy the rest of your albums now. Everybody else should go out and do the same. I'll put up your links and everything onto our platform as soon as this makes its way into the recorded section. I will scream it. Do you want to give everybody the shout out as to where they can get your content?
Yeah, okay. All my anti-marketing stuff. Just type Cy Connelly if you want into Google or whatever, and then it will come up. Or Cy Connelly washing machines, Cy Connelly socks. I'm selling all sorts at the moment. So
amazing. The biggest anti-marketing platform ever is going into socks. I love it. Anything in Brighton, eh? Anything in Brighton. Listen, Cy, huge thanks for coming in, man. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Let's do that again sometime. Keep well, guys. Wow, what an incredible artist. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but like that was outstanding. Let's have a look. He has a wonderful voice, fab, very good performance. I mean, there's too many to read. A couple of questions for Ash, which I'll probably bring in later. Oh, I might just shout at him. Ash, do you feel that gym training should be allowed in the parks?
Yeah.
Yes, simple answer.
But I find the actual gym atmosphere, because I've had a lot of clients who have had to stop because they feel they can't, and it's very hard for them to focus and get into that, where being in the gym specifically has that atmosphere that allows people to really push that level, myself included.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I'll get onto those questions a bit later, but right now we're going to move on to the next section, which is titled... I don't really know what it's titled, to be honest. Like M&M or something. MMM or... you'll get it. Okay, so welcome. The reason that I don't know what this is called is that it's focused on money matters, well-being, and mental wellness. So what I'm hoping to put forward for this section is to invite a guest in every week to talk about the three elements. Maybe one, we'll talk about it for the whole period. I don't know, but we'll work that out. At the moment, my business partner extraordinaire, Gareth Hawke, has decided to jump in and try and save the show. But I think more importantly, tried to stop me from doing anything I'll regret.
That's true.
So Gareth, I think one of the things that we wanted to talk about was the money side of it and how this is affecting the event industry. So when this happened for us, obviously we went screaming down to a zero income with a very large overhead. We're quite fortunate in that we're in the industry and we didn't go down the route of large loans like some of our colleagues. What do you think we can do going forward to bring that around and start to focus on money?
I think first of all we should say about money, yes, definitely that we're quite fortunate that we also, Stephen would normally be here, but we can't social distance between each other.
So Stephen is our business partner. He's the finance director, and yeah, there's not 6 meters here, so we couldn't do it.
So when we started looking at money, we obviously had a good steer of how much we actually were going to have to make and how much we were going to have to lose, and what we lost. Then we went through every single expenditure, and the only good thing about COVID for me was we actually had a pause button on the company. And as we both know, we've been out on site, we've been on events, we've been project managing, account managing, directing, and we actually, for the first time since 2007, we were allowed to stop.
Yeah.
And we've never had that before.
Yeah.
And that was the good part of it. And then you sit down with your balance sheet, you sit down with Stephen yourself, and then we split it up into 3. And we basically said, right, you're looking at these costings, I'm looking at these costings, and from that we were in a good place.
I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things that that I think every business advisor says, it's almost a cliche, but it's so true. Focus, work on the business, not in the business. And we have had to work in the business as owner-operators and have for many years. I mean, we've been going now 13 years. And I suppose our involvement has been considerably less over the years, but now it's ramped up again because of this fucking furlough thing. So, but what it did do, it like you say, it got us to stop, got us to regroup, and actually for the first time ever, and this is a plug to Norden's accountants, one man in particular, giving us a full understanding of the accounts. I don't think I've given accounts meetings longer than 7 minutes in the past 13 years. So. Yeah. Fortunately, we are now in a better place financially. But now what about mentally? I mean, because the thing is, like, this is playing a toll on your mental well-being because you're thinking about, okay, firstly, I don't have the money coming in. Now, how am I going to do that? And how long is it going to last? When is it going to run out? And then what?
Well, me personally, going just back to the previous question, obviously, I've been in events longer than most people within this company. And I've gone through recessions. I've gone through world events, ash clouds, unfortunately 9/11 and wherever it may be. And then the best thing also that happened on this, we had a WhatsApp group with London event suppliers where people within the industry came together. They actually shared proper information for the first time. Not that I'm doing the biggest event, the best event. I've got all this on, I've got that on. We actually were sharing facts and figures and ideas. Yeah. And that was, I didn't create the group, but joining that, and then you see all the various sectors come in, all the various industries, we realised we're that big. That helped in the mental state because you can actually see, you can get very pigeonholed into our company's in trouble, our company's not doing this, but actually our company wasn't as in much trouble. Our company was on a sound financial footing. Our company still has lots of issues like the events company, but that group allowed for someone to say one day I'm having a bad day and someone else would step in and say, actually, you've got these going for you. These are your positives. These are your things that can actually make you go forward. And suddenly we had lots more collaboration. And in setting up this studio, we've had 4 companies help us, which we have had long time relationships with. And that's made them hopefully feel, actually, there is a bit of light out there. The tunnel isn't always straight. It's going to bend and wind a few places before we ever get where we've gone in events.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the journey that we've gone through and just setting the studio up alone, seeing people's willingness to assist each other now through this crisis, whether you're competitors or not, has been pretty impressive. I mean, one of the things that I tend to wholeheartedly agree with is that London Event Suppliers Group has been a really good, stable bit of information that we all just went to it together. we're all fierce competitors in the industry, but we've shared information, and I couldn't agree with you more. And then I suppose touching then on the well-being side, the health, the nutrition, the exercise. I know that you've been going out a lot every morning, and we've got this challenge. Yeah, we've got this challenge. So tell them about Shane's challenge.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sitting here now, and normally I sit where you are on a day-to-day, and there's 9 of us in here, and I sit with Ryan and Shane, and one of the major conversations every day is how many number of steps you've done, and both of them walking to and from, and then they also both run and have various things, and I've always tried to do 10,000 steps a day, and then Shane this month has challenged everybody within Perception. We've got to do 310,000 steps.
Right, that's a lot of steps.
That's 10,000 steps a day. Ideally, you're supposed to do 10,000 steps each and every day.
Yeah.
Or you've got to do 310,000 on the last day and walk to Birmingham, which I'm not sure you're allowed to or not.
Well, no one wants to walk to Birmingham. I mean, let's be honest, even on a good day.
And then we've got Adam, who's constantly now, so it's routines.
Yeah.
Adam and myself, we're out early morning, we're going for a walk, not together because he's in a different county. Yeah. And it is a mindset, and that allows you where you get then to your desk. We've had our daily update meetings with Stephen, 9:30 till 10:30 every morning. Stephen brings a fresh approach, you're bringing this idea, and then coming in here and creating the studio. Actually, we start off like this, you go downwards, and now we're coming back up in a mind. I'm not saying in business, but in my mind. When I look around here now and I think, oh, so-and-so used to sit there. My plants aren't here anymore, whoever knew my plants. I had a little forest going and they're all at home.
Yeah, so you didn't have a forest going, you had your own little hideaway. Yeah.
And they were lovely. So my mind at the moment is quite, as you would say, you said it to me the other day, you have been more creative in the last 2 months you probably in the previous whatever period of time. And I think that's right. And I think that's rubbed off it. And I think that that's why it is important that people, I'm not just saying rush back to work, but having as many Zoom, Teams, and whatever platform we're using, and including our own one, it actually, the face-to-face interaction just for the going forward, I'm not saying doing it all the time, but meeting that and discussing this and building this studio up has been quite, I find, refreshing, and it has it's made my mind and mental health a lot better.
Well, I think then that's a positive we'll take away from this, and I think we need to. I've just been told in my ear that we're running short on time, and I'm supposed to keep to time. I don't know why. What were we going to reference? We were going to reference Conversation Street. That's what we said.
Well, we have a competition that normally there would be 3 of us.
Yeah. We
can all guess which of the 3 people in Conversation Street you will probably be.
Yeah, I'm not going to even answer that.
I presume that Stephen will actually be given the hamster's role, and I would just be like the James May. Yeah, just telling them one sentence at a time. But we need a better word for that in the events world.
Let's have a look at, somebody said, Sean Children, Gareth Hawke, there goes the show. Right, Kevin, sharing is a great thing. I'm part of some freelancer groups, and the support for each other is very helpful. That's great, Kevin. I'd say stay a part of that. It's very, very important. You'll find that your mental well-being, but also you'll pick up tips where to go for financial relief, what grants to look for. It's fundamental.
Going into that, I think definitely next week we'll also be talking about freelancers.
Yeah.
Because that is a core part of the events world, and where people are falling through the cracks, and where people have got their own businesses of freelancers, or whether they're non-business people, and that is something that definitely, as you say, with Nordens, they've constantly come on with new information for us.
Yeah. So touching on the freelancer thing, that's how we've worked with this this setup. Our staff are furloughed. We are not well off. We cannot afford to pay our staff while we're not working. So the government are footing the bill, the 80% furlough bill. We are topping up our staff's salaries. That's not to brag. We just think it's the right thing to do. But what we are doing is we're using our freelancers at the moment gratis, thankfully. But we're going to do so until such time as we kick off again. And those that have helped us along the way are going to be the first that are going to get the work. And we really, really support the freelancers where we can, because they are the face of the company and they've supported us through thick and thin. Everybody else is saying, what's Patrick's monthly budget for beard oil? As you can see, we're in a recession, guys. I don't even know what to say about that.
£5.
Do you envisage a role for a show caller in coordinating a remote live events? Yes, absolutely. We're up for all sorts of collaboration. You guys are more than welcome to get in touch. Now, I'm probably over the allotted time, but we're going to move into a next section, which is probably going to be one that Gareth runs away from because it's memes. I'm here to offend you, and if I haven't, I'm going to try harder next week. So let's go for it. Meme van die week.
Listen to me, boys. Listen, for fuck's sake, 2 meters, 2 fucking meters. Not hard to do. 2 meters, Jesus Christ, just listen. 2 meters. Holy fuck. And stay in your fucking houses, Jesus Christ.
Norway and Sweden and Iceland and Finland and Germany now one piece.
Peace was never an option.
Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia,
Fratelli, buongiorno.
Я думал, намного лучше будет это все. И очень плохая музыка, просто очень плохая музыка. Я думал, намного лучше это все будет. Сколько раз сюда ходил, было намного лучше, но на этот раз как-то не удалось. Во-первых, народу мама, музыка не очень.
А что за направление?
А?
Что за направление?
Направление? Какое направление?
Что за направление музыки играет там?
We think we have it very well under control. We pretty much shut it down. Coming in from China.
You know, in April, supposedly it dies with the hotter weather.
When it gets warm, historically, that has been able to kill the virus. People are getting better. They're all getting better. And the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to 0. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear, and you'll be fine. They're going to have vaccines, I think, relatively soon. Not only the vaccines, but the therapies. Therapies is sort of another word for cure. We're talking about very small numbers in the United States. Our numbers are lower than just about anybody. It's really working out. And a lot of good things are going to happen. And we are responding with great speed and professionalism. It's going to go away. Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all. We're going to all be great. We're going to be so good. This came up, it came up so suddenly. This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic.
讨厌，提前跟人说一声，吓我一跳。
And that's that. So we got some time for some questions. We've answered most of them along the way, by the look of it. Alex, thank you for your comment. It is going to be rolled out probably within the next week. The products are off the shelf, so for anybody that wants to get involved, please get in touch immediately. We could probably have answers for you immediately. We did this as a test because we didn't want to trial it on anybody that is paying, because then that would be a problem. So we trialed it on ourselves, and we'll keep doing this. We'll keep testing the platform. We'll keep pushing it to breaking point. Let's have a look. Somebody's saying that at least there aren't protesting people in the streets. That's great. That is great news. I'm very, very pleased. John T, thanks for your comment. Will we offer packages? Yes. Full screen option is apparently something that is a problem, because you can't ask a question if you are full screen. We'll take that into account. Thanks very much for that feedback. And that's that. Mark Norden, no problem at all, sir. With that said, question time is now over. The broadcast is now over. We're a little bit over time, but shoot me. What are you going to do? Have a great day, people. We'll see you soon.